Okay, I'm going to try and do this video in one take because I don't have a camera person at the moment. So, you got yourself a hammock in the mail. What do you do with it? Okay, you got these two sacks right here. This sack right here, the smaller of the two, with the label U.S. Army mosquito tent. This one is your mosquito net. Set that aside for now. This little bundle of joy right here is your hammock. It has everything you need to be able to hammock, except for maybe these two stakes, which I'm sending also, these aluminum stakes. I'm going to set these aside for now also. We're going to focus on the hammock itself. So inside the hammock, you have this little sack, inside the sack you have your hammock. The sack has two openings, one on each end. I'll show you why that is in just a second. So let's just go ahead and open it. In one end, you're going to see there's some straps right here. Should be everything you need to hang it on a tree. I'm going to set these straps aside for a minute, go deeper into it. There's a little coil of rope in here as well. I'm just going to let that fall out. This doesn't tangle very well. It stays tangle free for the most part. This rope that this is made out of is rated for over, I think it's about 2,000 pounds, 1,800 pounds, something like that. And it floats, it's waterproof. You said it's marine grade. You don't have to worry about this getting UV damage. It's pretty indestructible synthetic rope. And you'll see there's a loop on one end here, and it comes down and it tapers from a loop to, it kind of goes inside itself. It's like a Chinese finger trap. You can make this loop bigger or smaller. One end of the loop comes out right here, this side with the tail on it. The tail is what you pull if you want to make the loop smaller. You just hold on to the other rope where it's going inside of it, and you just hold it steady, and you'll feel it just slides right through this little tunnel that the other one's created because it's hollow inside. There's a little tunnel in there. So you can just make this smaller. If you want to make the loop a little bit bigger, then you just hold on the other end of the tunnel and you just pull and it will hold. But yet when this loop has weight applied to it, it'll hold 80% of its rated weight. So it's very, very strong. So I'm going to go ahead and hook this hammock up and I'll show you what it's all about here. So I have this set up with carabiners. Sorry, I'm out of frame here for a second. Let me just show you how this works. So inside here, attached to it, is the hammock. You can see it just coils out like a snake. In fact, this little tube that's around the hammock is called a snake skin for that reason. So the idea is here, you can go ahead and uncoil it. If it hits the ground or something and it's dirty, no big deal. It's inside the snake skin, which is protective. So you'll see the other end of the sack here. There is there's also, you might guess, another end of the suspension here, and it's the same thing. It's a coiled rope, and what I'm going to do is just open it enough to get the coil out, and then I'm going to close up the other end of the cinch sack, so you'll never have to worry about losing your stuff sack or where to put it. I'm just going to keep it right in there, and now it's just going to be out of the way. So I'm going to go ahead and hook this other end up. I have some carabiner over here that I'm going to hook this loop into. Okay, now all I need to do is make the loop smaller. This is way too long for this one. And I'll just tell you that when hanging a hammock, generally, the farther apart your attachment points are, or your trees, for example, the higher up you want to attach the hammock to the tree. The closer they are together, the more parallel to the hammock you want to make them. So, for example, if I had trees that were this close, so there's a tree here and another tree equally close, I'd want to attach it just a little bit higher than I'd want to hang it, and it would hang pretty well. But if the trees are way far apart, then I want to hang the tree straps higher up, taller than me, depending on how far apart they are. So you'll get the hang of that. But If you see your hammock sagging too much in the middle, then you'll know that you've got it, that the trees are set, and you want to play around with how high you have the hammock set on the tree. So you want to raise it up or bring it down probably. You just kind of have to play around. You'll get a feel for it. So let's see, I'm just going to make this a little bigger. Okay, now I'm going to unfurl the snake here. And all I'm going to do is just let these snake skins just kind of sit right here between this little ring and the hammock end itself. This ring right here is for, let's say it's raining and water starts working its way down here. Usually the water will come off on this, it'll drip right down here. But on the off chance some does carry along here, it's going to hit this ring and drip right down here and not make it into the hammock itself. The other thing is say I have trees that are closer than over here is the end of where the loop can be, the smallest it can get. You can also attach directly to this ring, so you can actually attach closer to a tree, like right here, instead of way out over there. You know, there's a big difference there. So that's another reason to have this little. And this is rated for 1,200 pounds. So this will, and that's working load, not static. So it'll hold you just fine. It'll hold two people. I'm going to unfurl the other end over here. I'm pretty sure I'm out of camera shot, but I'm going to unfurl it anyway. So I'll show you the features of the hammock. Okay, so the hammock does have these little loops on here. This is for utility. If you want to hang something off of here, you can. You can also put on a something that can go underneath it to help keep you warm. They call those an underquilt, and these will allow you to clip in a little bit. Just nice utility things. There's one on this side. There's one on this side. You'll see them throughout the hammock. Also, I have a little tie out here. This is attached to elastic shock cord, and this is a reflective rope here that you can use those two stakes I showed you earlier to just stake this out so that it helps keep the hammock open for you, and it's a little easier to get in and out of. So you notice they're slightly offset. That's because generally you want to have an asymmetrical lay in this, and this will help facilitate that. So you would stake the one that's a little bit farther forward, you'd stake that one over to this direction, and the one that's a little farther backward, you stake out this direction. And it kind of makes it diagonal for you. So in this case, the head end for me would be this end, because you want to put your head at one end or the other. So show you that in a second. Up here, this is the ridge line. This ensures that no matter how hard I pull this way, I can't make the hammock any wider. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of hammocking because you always have the same amount of sag. You can pull as hard as you want, and you still have that same amount of sag. It's not gonna, you're not going to be able to get it like bow taut in the middle, you know, guitar string taut, I should say. And on the ridgeline here, you have a ridgeline organizer. This has pockets on each side, 2 pockets, and then in the middle you have a big pocket. You could put a water bottle in there, your iPhone, your glasses, headphones, you know, flashlight, whatever you want. It's really, really handy. You don't realize how handy it is till you don't have one. You're like, oh, I really missed that. So this ridge line, you'll notice it does have a loop in it as well. It is adjustable, so if you like a little more sag or a little less sag, you can make it bigger or smaller. But this is optimized for the ideal sag is 83% of the total length of the hammock without the ridge line. You want the ridge line to be 83% of the distance. But so anyway, getting into a hammock. Once you have it hung, to get into it, the best way that I think to get into it is just splay it open a little bit, pull it above your shoulders or so, and then you just sit down. You may hear a little bit of creaking as the tree straps settle in and as everything kind of settles in. That's normal, don't worry about it. So once you sit in, you just twist your body and you put your feet up. In this case, I'm going to put my feet over here, and picture this as your straight line here. You want to lay it diagonally across it, either this direction or this direction. It helps you not get that banana lay. You get a flat lay in it. So, but this is laying in the hammock. Pretty simple. Also, having the right amount of sag in your hammock helps make it more stable. Your center of gravity is lower. It's very hard to tip one of these things over. And once kids get the hang of it, they're pretty stable in them too. Okay, one thing you'll notice is that this hammock is double layer. It has you'll see halfway down it's sewn together, and the other half is open here, and there's a space in here. What this is for is you can go ahead and put a foam pad or a fleece blanket or something of that nature in there, and it will give you the protection from the cold that you desperately will need. So, for example, in my hammock over here, you can see I have a piece of foam in here. This gives me plenty of protection. This will take me down to freezing easily with just having that in there. So you can see how that one is splayed open there. Okay. I'll show you how to hang it in a second, but basically to put this away, all you have to do is take your snake skins and just redeploy them, as I like to call it. And I don't know if I can do this one-handed, but oh yeah, not too bad. You just pull them down. You can see that was one-handed, pretty sweet. You can see it goes almost 3/4 of the way in, so that's pretty good. And you redeploy this side. Then what you do is you stuff everything into the stuff sack, and you're all tidy and ready to go.